This video will be quite short and focusing on one thing that it is better not to do when developing Angular components. Don't use CSS utility classes. Lately, this is a very popular fast-growing practice and very harmful to the projects. In my example, I use Tailwind CSS framework, but this is also true for Bootstrap and others. Here is my integration component, the HTML code of which I will use as an example. It's quite simple in terms of design and a bit responsive. You can see it looks different for a small screen and for a slight bigger screen. I have two implementations of this component. In the first one, I use Pure CSS styles in a separate file, like we normally have to do in Angular. And in the second implementation, I use Tailwind CSS utility classes built into my HTML markup. Let's figure out why the CSS utility classes are bad. Look at these two pieces of HTML markup. They are actually the same block, and I think you'll agree that with Tailwind, classes make it less readable. My style is pretty simple, so the code is still not super bad. But be sure for more complicated cases, it would be much more dramatic like this. So the first thing we lost with utility classes, or at least reduced, was code readability. I think all developers know that naming is important, and this is also true for HTML classes. When you are looking into HTML markup, you need to quickly understand what it represents. From this HTML, we can understand that this is the title and the block below is the integration containing the descriptions. And all we can know from this HTML is that its creator doesn't try to be clear, so all classes must have semantic names. Separation of concerns is a fundamental principle of all software development process. One of the first rules of front-end development is HTML is for the content and structure, CSS is for the styling, and the JavaScript is for the behavior. Utility classes violate this rule. Another crucial principle that has been violated is the KISS principle, or keep it simple. In fact, utility classes are another language on top of Pure CSS, and your team needs to learn it to achieve the same results that you can get with simple CSS. Using CSS utility classes is a true architectural anti-pattern, as you will see soon when you decide to make your component design customizable. For example, I want to be able to apply different styles to my integration component, default and custom. To do this, I add an input config property with default value. I also provide an interface that describes the input configuration. Add style class to component host binding. Now I can pass the styles configuration to my component from the parent. But in order to apply styles depending on the configuration class, I need to use ng class for each set of CSS utility classes that can be really complicated and hard to support. When using regular CSS styles, you just need to use the config class as a wrapper for alternate styles. In defense of utility classes, I can say that in some cases it can be useful because it makes implementation of design faster. For example, if you are creating a promotional landing page for your company's marketing team, and this page won't last long before it goes into the trash. But if you want to create something reliable that you want to maintain and develop in the long term, remove all utility classes from your HTML as soon as possible. If you agree, please like this video. And if not, share your opinion in the comments. Thank you.